But first, we will lead this update, as we have led the others, with the Chief Executive Officer of Fulton County Government. Dick Anderson joins us from one of the other testing sites. This one is in North Fulton. Sir, welcome back to Fulton today.
Hi, Shania. Thanks for having me.
So as you know, many people are wondering about that timeline of when Fulton County government will open, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, just tell us, how are things going?
Well, so as you know, we're still in quite a serious situation with over 2,500 active cases and over 90 deaths in Fulton County. It's not insignificant. What I do feel like is we're moving somewhat into a second phase. Most importantly, in this first phase was to prepare for and plan for adequate healthcare capacity. So with the state and with all of our partners in Fulton County, we were able to do that. And in fact, as we sit here today, we still have about 800 beds, excess capacity, about 200 ICU units, and about 90 to 100 ventilators. So that's very good news for all of us. At the same time, we have been able to execute the board's direction, which was to provide community support. We just allocated another $2 million in the last week to a group of trusted partners like QLS and Gooder and Council on Aging, all around either senior food support or income insecurity. And I think that's been a hallmark of Fulton County during this crisis. Now we need to start to plan for, in a next phase, some measured steps forward.
And sir, what are some of those next steps?
Well, one of the things that you hear on the national news is testing, testing, testing. So that's really our focus now, is building testing capacity. So in this last week, and at the site that I'm at today, which is 4700 North Point Parkway, we are tripling the number of sites in Fulton County. And that will allow us to do over double the number of tests that we did in the last month. So our target for this month of May is 50,000 folks. And that will provide people with a lot of confidence that they don't have the virus, confidence in returning to work. Certainly if they need treatment, that will give them the sense, if they are COVID positive, as to go ahead and seek treatment. So I think there is absolutely upside benefit to building these capabilities. And what I'd want you to know is it's really being done through an innovative public-private partnership. We could not do all of this on our own. In fact, we have both Walgreens and CVS operating in Fulton County private sector sites. We have the National Guard operating 2 sites, one at Turner Field and one at Greenbrier Mall. And then we have this site and, of course, Wolf Creek Amphitheater, which we announced and opened last week. So all of those combined really give us a broad footprint across Fulton County, with plenty of access for citizens. Over time, I think the way to schedule yourself is through the mobile app at Augusta University. In the near term, you also have the ability to schedule yourself with the Fulton County number that's been well published. So in both of those cases, we want citizens to come here. We want them to be tested, certainly if they have symptoms, but also if they're planning to go back to work in the near term. The last thing that we're really focused on in this stage is making sure that we have adequate capacity at our jail, because of anything that could have been a place for a significant outbreak is our jail. So now we're building an additional 100 to 200 bed isolation unit there, another 20 to 25 in Union City where our female inmates are housed, both of which will give us the ability to have, if necessary, isolation units for our jail population.
And now, Mr. Manager, what many residents and employees are wondering about, when will Fulton County government open for its new normal?
Well, it's a little bit early to say exactly when we return to normal, either from a health standpoint or from an economy standpoint. But we have begun to take some measured steps and do the planning for reopening of Fulton County government. And what I would tell you is the guiding principle is safety first. So at this point, what we're doing is looking at probably something that's 3 or 4 phases in nature. I'd say our most critical functions required by law, such as our courts, which have continued to operate, our tax commissioner, which has been operating pretty much with an office not open to the public, but doing work in the background, will be the first to fully open. Then we're thinking limited library services, limited behavioral health services in a phase 2. Probably phase 3 is more broadly some of our services that would more naturally be available, but again on a limited basis. And then I'd say in the last phase truly would be our senior centers, art centers, anywhere where we have congregate settings, large groups of people coming together. The one thing that will really guide us is not a set of dates, but rather when we can ensure that our employees and the public would be safe. So that requires alterations to our buildings, such as shields. It requires a significant buildup of PPE, or personal protective equipment. It also requires us to develop new protocols. In other words, when is it safe to put a book back on the shelf after it's been checked out of a library? So we have to think through all of those things carefully, which our staff is doing now, and we'll be planning that, I would say, over the month of May, with more toward an end of May, 1st of June to begin this process, and then again rolling through in phases to bring the government fully back online. But I think that will not be inconsistent with what a lot of our private sector businesses will be doing as well. So as you are around today or any time in the near future, you'll see them also making these kind of plans. And I'm confident as we both move forward that the public will be protected, again, and our employees will be protected.
Sir, you and the Fulton County team have been working very, very hard. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks for your time.
Well, Shania, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being able to get this information out, both to the public as well as to our employees in Fulton County. And I know many times it must feel like, well, why can't we have definitive answers or closure to some of these things? But every day is a new challenge. And as we open new centers, as we work on things at our jail for expanded capacity, as testing really grows in importance, as our businesses open as well as our government opens, I'm sure we'll have much more to share as the days go forward. And our commitment really is to share the truth as we know it. So as we learn more, as we're able to plan more effectively, as we know the next set of steps that we'll take, we welcome the opportunity to be back to again, speak to your audience.